Trăiesc o viață prea bolnavă, o epavă. Vreau să foc, dacă eu sunt pacientul, am să învăț să mă consult. Societatea mă vrea mult să nu gândesc, doar să ascult. M-am născut învins fără să știu cu cine lupt. Nu știu încotro mă duc, gata să lupt cu oricine. Vreau să demonstrez că pot celor ce n-au crezut în mine.
Few moments later.
Halte Matraman 2, bagi Anda ingin melanjutkan perjalanan ke arah Kampung Melayu, Kampung Rambutan, Pasar Senen, Ancol, Anda bisa turun di halte Matraman 2, terima kasih.
Bapak, jaga diri Anda dan orang di sekitar.
Persiapan halte Pasar Rumput. Bagi Anda yang melanjutkan perjalanan ke arah stasiun Manggarai, Depok, mungkin Anda bisa turun di halte Pasar Rumput. Terima kasih.
Few moments later.
Ragunan, Kuningan, Puri Beta, Anda bisa turun di halte Halilintar. Terima kasih. duku atas 2. Periksa kembali barang bawaannya, jangan sampai ada yang tertinggal. Dan berhati-hatilah saat melangkah turun. Terima kasih.
Duku atas 2.
Hati-hati namanya diperhatikan. Tutup. Persiapan tol Serie. Periksa kembali barang bawaannya, jangan sampai ada yang tertinggal. Dan berhati-hatilah saat melangkah turun. Terima kasih.
Tol Serie. Periksa kembali barang bawaan Anda dan hati-hati melangkah. Terima kasih. Next stop, Tol Serie. Please check your belongings and step carefully. Thank you.
Mas, kalau ke Kuningan Barat naik apa aja sebelah itu Pak? Yang mana? Katanya
moments later. Few moments later.
Simpan dulu dengan baik-baik. Mama terima kasih, boleh kembali 3 minggu kemudian.
So I'm going to choose a couple of areas today. I haven't got mechanical. I should have had mechanical, but I haven't, but that's okay. Let's have a look at civil. So design, construction, maintenance of infrastructure. Remember our theme of smart cities. We've got to make our cities work better for us. And we're going to make them better for the environment and better for us in terms of having a clean environment and making our structures smarter. Okay? So some of the themes that we focus on include extreme smart structures, deep earth energy, water-sensitive urban design, you can see on the slide there. And we offer studies in geomechanics, structures, transport and water. Okay? There's always demand for civil engineers all around the world. Right? It's not boring, it's really, really fascinating, and it's driven by technology, and there's lots of great things. Now, robotics and mechatronics, I said to you earlier, it's the coming together of mechanical and electrical. So, we've got AI, artificial intelligence and automation streams, employing computer control systems there to make devices smarter and more efficient. You can see its application may be in manufacturing, but in other things such as designing Mars rovers, which we do at Monash in our Nova Rover team, autonomous vehicles, various design elements. It's just bringing together computing and mechanical. And of course there's plenty of career opportunities as well. And the good thing about robotics is that you might look for a job as a robotics engineer, but in actual fact, there may not be those types of jobs available. There might be some, but you're always going to find a job as a mechanical engineer or as an electrical engineer anyway, right? So robotics and mechatronics is actually a nice choice as well. Right, so this is what the course map looks like. So when Adam started, he didn't do the first year. He did the diploma. So did you do part 1 and part 2?
Yeah,
Both of them, okay. And that was at Monash College, right? Yeah, cool. So how did you find the diploma program, Adam?
Well, the diploma program is a shorter period,
Yeah.
but it's more intensive. So if you want to build up your foundation, you do the diploma, it's a good choice. Because if you go to first year graduate, of course you have a longer summer break. When you do diploma, maybe you do 8 months, you may have a longer break, but
more intense.
more intense and to build your foundation. Because at the end of the day, if your foundation is strong, you might struggle second year, third year, even your fourth year.
That's right. And of course, maths. Maths is important, isn't it, Adam? Talk about that.
It's every year you have math subject.
Yeah, every year you got maths, right? Maths, we say, is the language of engineering, right?
Yeah, you'll be better at math than English, to be for sure. You'll be better than math than report.
But I was talking to a gentleman here earlier about the challenges of maths. We offer maths support. There are a range of support services that we offer at the curriculum level, and one of them is maths. So we want to make sure that you make the maths journey with us. If you need help, you can go and meet with academics and senior students with any theoretical problems that you have in the learning environment, and they can help you, right? You just have to walk through the door and that help is available, okay? So years 2, 3 and 4 is when you do your specialisation, okay?
Well, basically, JB, all this four is the mechanical subject. All the subject I did when I was in university.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is the map for mechanical,
Yeah.
right? So this is what Adam has studied, okay? Now, tell us a bit about your final year project, Adam, which brings together all of your learning, right? Please.
So basically, when you do a final project, you can initially look for supervisors, which is your lecture, and then you look for the subject. So initially, you take a look at what you want to do for your final year project, then you talk to your lecturer, then you can bring up the topics, or you have some project that you want you to work with. And ideally, there's 2 parts for final year project. There's a research base and the industry base. If you do it a research base, maybe you're helping them on some of their paper or some of their research. You produce a report and work heavily on data and research and in the lab. But what I did for my final year project, I was more interested in how the industry actually works. So I was fortunate enough to talk to my lecturer that have a connection to the industry. So at the time I was working on the, what you call it, like a candy manufacturing plant to improve some of the equipment. I did, if you see on the final project, there's on semester 1 and semester 2. So so if you took only semester 1, it means you're only taking 1 credit and you have more electives to choose. But for what I did, I just took 1 year final project, so I have less elective to do. Because at the time, I was able to work for 1 whole year, right?
Right.
So that was actually means more to me. So I was able to work for 1 year for actually do like internship. It was not a full time because we still need to study. Maybe I work like 3 days a week. Because when you do your final project, you have less classes. You have more time to work on your own.
Very good. So, Adam took advantage of his final year project to get engaged with industry. Now we have an open plan now for the final year project, right? You can pick and choose what you do. There is a research base that gives you capability, so you can always know how to find out what the most advanced technology, the advanced capability, the advanced application of an area of engineering is. But then you're delivering your own project, and there are many ways to do that. And Adam took advantage of the opportunity to work in industry, and this is invaluable because this is setting you up for the workplace when you graduate, right? Slide, please. Now, sorry, could you go back? Just go back for a second. So again, Adam missed out, unfortunately. So you've got elective units all the way along, so you can pick and pack. This is structured. But then every semester you get an elective so that you can build out a program that interests you, okay? In years 3 and 4, you can continue with your electives, or, next slide, you can take one of these minors. So you can add, all right? So Adam did mechanical. I reckon environmental engineering, obviously a good complement. I think renewable energy is a very good complement to mechanical. Smart manufacturing, sustainable engineering. So you've got artificial, computational. So computational is where you build and design and simulate in a virtual environment. This is becoming increasingly across every specialisation, right? So very important. Thanks. Right, now, we've heard a little bit from Adam about his industry engagement. I'm going to talk to you about what we do at Monash University. So, we've got things like co-op, which is a formal internship program that students have to be studying hard and doing well academically, and then they can make an application. We've got work integrated learning at the master level, but in Indonesia, I know most students are interested in undergraduate. We've got Mighty, which is the industry team initiative. This is where companies come to us with a problem that needs to be solved. And often they'll use engineering students, right? We've got summer research, so if you're interested in research, and then there's a career ready series. So we're trying to provide students with workshops and with mentoring and with connections to alumni, so when they graduate, they're ready to be employed. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, a part of the accreditation with Engineers Australia is continuous professional development, and at Monash we help you to do that as well. So, Adam, can you tell us how you built up some of those hours that you needed?
Few moments later.
CPD, first start off on my batch. Yeah. So when I did this, there's 2 parts you can do. First of all, you can take up to 70 hours, if I'm not mistaken, from your subject, right?
Correct.
So you can take off 70 hours from your design subject or whatever for final year project.
Final year project.
Yeah. And then for the rest of it, you can do from your internship, volunteering, and
that's right. And then the teams and clubs, which I'll talk about in a moment. Okay.
It's always good to keep this because when you are working as a professional engineer, if you want to take a chartership or accredited engineer internationally, you have to keep record for all this. So far in my career, I also keep every record of any trainings, whatever you do on your working style and on your project, you keep track because when working as accredited engineer, maybe every 5 years you have to renew and to submit a report.
Right? Clear? It's good advice. Okay. So there's stuff that you can do easily, right? So Adam's noted design project, your final year project, then there's other things you can join Engineers Australia, League into leadership, all of this stuff. But then I talked about earlier co-op, summer research, related work experience, internships. You've heard from Adam about that for his final year project. And this one down the bottom, right? This is what I'm going to next. This is our superpower at Monash, right? You have to pay a lot of money to come and study in Australia. You should shop around, right? Absolutely. Shop. Have a look at all of the universities. But I guarantee you that none will do engineering teams and clubs better than Monash University, right? So can I have the next slide, please? All right, so 30 teams and clubs to connect, share and prepare. So what I mean by connect, share and prepare, working in groups with other students, working on projects. The teams and the clubs, they do industry nights, they have sponsorships, alumni come back to support the teams, students get connected to industry, we're helping get them ready for work, right? We go to university, so at the end, we have a degree and qualification, so we can get a better job, right? So we need to prepare you for the workforce. Okay? We've got some fantastic teams, carbon removal from the atmosphere. They applied for the Elon Musk Foundation Prize and they were awarded $250,000 US, right, to continue to develop ways to take carbon from the atmosphere. Okay? Solar Decathlon, it's a civil team that builds houses. high-powered rocketry, so they 3D print their fuselage, and they compete in the United States space support competition in the 10,000 feet category and the 30,000 feet category. And they have a little area, what they call payload, where they can do experiments. Very cool stuff. Precious plastics, recycling plastics. Motorsport, this is our oldest and most popular team. They are number one in Australia for combustion engine, and now they're number one in the world. In the world, the best university student formula team in the world. Very, very cool. Right? And they're no longer doing the combustion. You know, they've looked at Audi and they've looked at all the car companies. Audi said in 2026, no more combustion, right? Going fully electric. And so they've developed the electric car. They just launched on Thursday their 2022 electric car, which will be one car. It will be electric, driver, but it can also operate as a driverless vehicle. So they've got all the sensing technology that maps out the track, and the car can drive by itself. Very cool. So, fantastic spaces. Got the maker space. Again, this is coming after, unfortunately, Adam's graduation. There's machining, composites, all of these capabilities that allow students to come in and build prototypes, break them, build them again. It's resources for students to be the best engineers they can. And some of the great companies that we work with. Now, some you'll recognise, GlaxoSmith, HP, Google, Tesla. We've got Lockheed Martin up the top, Ronaldo, right? But then you've got a lot of Australian companies, and I think some of them you'll recognise in Indonesia as well, Telstra and Qantas, of course, and so on. All right. So, why am I showing you this? We love the big glittering lights, okay? We work with these companies through our research, our consultancies, our commercialisation. They also support our students, right? You, or some of you, we've got families here as well. And our clubs and teams. Okay? So it's very, very important. All right. So we're in employment and careers. I'm going to talk to Adam a little bit more and then give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions. So look, I think as Indonesia continues to develop fast, you have a strong demand for engineers across many areas. Okay, I was talking to Adam earlier. Those classic areas of civil, of electrical and mechanical. There's always good demand for engineers. Okay? So these are some of the companies where our graduates go. Right? Adam is working with a fantastic global company called Engie. I'm going to ask him some questions about it in a moment. Small, medium and large. We love the bright lights. But don't worry, there's always plenty of opportunity in small and medium enterprise as well. There are lots of great companies doing great things in the engineering space that aren't the big multinational companies that we know. Okay? We've got the Career Ready series to help students prepare. The salaries are strong. This is Australia. I'm sure Adam's doing well in Indonesia. LinkedIn Emerging Jobs Report included all of these as the top 15 areas. Okay? So automation, robotics, AI, specialised engineering roles. Remember earlier I talked about computational engineering, software, biomedical. Right? These are all new and emerging areas. Deloitte, KPMG, they're not engineering companies. Okay? Our engineers go in, these are business consultancies. Our engineers go in there because they're very good, they're very smart, they connect the dots, they design solutions, they solve problems, right? Engineers are very well-rounded people. What have we got next? That's for the counsellors, for Sun. Keep going. Next slide, please. All right, beautiful Melbourne. Don't worry about that email address. That's my colleague. I'll have to give you mine, or you can always talk to Robbie. So I want to ask Adam a few more questions.
Adam has a slide that he already did that gym.
Ah, got it.
Yeah.
Let's get Adam up. You've had enough of me.
And
Please.
while we waiting for the slide,
Yeah.
you can say hi to the online participants because we have 40 participants joining online. So
Terima kasih.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for
joining.
coming online. We appreciate it.
yeah. Okay. Okay, Adam, thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming today. So let me introduce myself. I'm Adam. I'm going to talk to you about the Monash Ligue, about my experience and what I can share from what I actually exposed when I was studying in Australia from Monash University. Okay, next. Okay, so this is basically the agenda that I'm going to discuss today. I'm going to talk about my background, my career journey, understanding the market and the economy. Let you guys do more of the question and answer. So in more time for you to actually know what's happening in the university. Okay? Okay, next. Okay, so this is basically what I did. As I said, Jamie mentioned, I go as a diploma of engineering at Monash College from part 1 to part 2. It takes maybe like 1.5 years because I started in October 2015. Then afterwards, I continued straight away to second year when I took the mechanical degree over 3 years, from second year to fourth year. Then after I actually graduated, I went home in Indonesia to start my first job. When I was working in Indonesia, I joined the Institution of Engineers in Indonesia. And as Jamie mentioned before, we are accredited as the Engineer Australia membership. So I actually signed up for all those. And then after that, you might know in Indonesia, engineers got Insinyur di Audit, right? And then now there's a new regulation. Basically, if you're working as a bachelor, you have the academic degree and your professional degree. So if you work as a doctor, you have the Sarjana Kedokteran as your academic degree, and doctor actually your professional degree. So engineer nowadays is actually categorized as your professional degree, which I took to get Mandarin. Okay, and afterwards I got all the what you call it.
Few moments later.
Professional development to actually continue with my accreditation as a professional engineer. Okay, go next. Okay, so basically this is a definition as an engineer. It's actually a person who designs, builds, maintains engine, music, and public roads. And as you go along later on, there's so many stuff you can do as an engineer. You can work as selling products, you can work as a contractor, developer, or even in manufacturing. All those considered as an engineer, but it all depends on you guys on which industry you want to work for. And at the moment, I'm working as a project engineer for NGRCS. We're actually a company for mechanical and electrical contractor, specialized for data center. This is what it looks like as a data center building, just for your information. It's actually companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they use data center to store all their data. For the Dropbox, Google Drive is big data, and data center is what they use for the storage the data. Why this is I said I show it to you guys because from my perspective, this is the next big thing. Because it consumes more energy than a city. So right now at the moment I'm working for a data center, we are using 20 megawatts electricity just for the building itself and only 3 stories. So there's a lot of money involved, a lot of technical information involved, it's good exposure. So later on if you want to talk about data center after the presentation, you can talk to me. Okay, go next. Okay, so basically this is an overview of what I actually do when I study in Monash and until now. So as I said, early when I was working in the, studying in Monash, I always want to get exposure to what I want to do. After I graduate, there's so many stuff you can do. You can do, as I said before, manufacturing, you can go as a contractor, consulting, or even selling products. So when I start off, initially in 2015, I was still young. In my second year, I might not have the adequate information or knowledge. So I go for the manufacturing industry first. Because manufacturing, you will learn more about the processes, more about the equipment, and you understand about the actually working environment. That's what you need to initial. And then afterwards, in 2017, I start off with my industry-based 5-year projects, which I said I'm working at the Dollar Suite, it's in Pakenham. It's a bit far, but it's a good experience because you get to learn about the international environment. Because I was living in Indonesia, I want to get to feel how it works in Thailand country, so I can bring all the cultures and the knowledge to absorb and prepare me for a better future when I'm working at my first job. Okay, in 2018, before I actually graduated on my last semester, I was doing an internship at Cirebon Power. It's a power plant company in Cirebon. So at this moment, I was trying to get a feel of working on the site. And Indonesia, if you might be aware, there's so many power plant and mining facilities. And most of them is located outside of Jakarta. So I just want to get a feel to see if this is the working environment for me. But after I did, I think this is not what I'm looking for. So when I graduate, I come home to Indonesia. I work as an EPC contractor for Hydro. It's a hydro power plant company. Because I actually wanted to do energy, because I believe energy is always used everywhere you go. Even in this room, we use a lot of energy with aircon, lightings, everything, right? So I want to take a feel of what is working for an EPC contractor. We actually design, we procure, and we construct facilities and power plant. Right, then afterwards I feel for maybe like 8 months, I get the opportunity to work for my hub, which is actually Australian design consulting firm. This was a company that doing design of building services. So you're doing what, lighting design, buildings, air conditioning, the fire protection, electronics, smoke detectors, and so forth. On this, actually, you will actually learn about your ability to work as a design engineer. So you lot of technical problems you handle by yourself. But as I said, engineering when you're doing nowadays in the uni, it's just calculation. It's just calculation. It's you got 100, it's 100. But when you're working as an engineer, it's more than just calculation. You actually need to learn about keep track of people, keep track of your documents, project management, understand the commercial and so forth. Which actually I learned when I was working as a technical consultant, because you were actually talking to a lot of different people from different backgrounds. After I get a feel of doing design and technical knowledge, I'm moving abroad to Thailand and Tanzania, which actually a project management consulting firm. Because when you're doing a project like this, design is just a 10% portion. When you're doing a project, you go from initiation, you handle all the permits, you learn about, okay, which contractor I should use, which consultant I should use, how do I build the facilities up to the client standard and the requirements. And all this you learn in project management. And all the project management stuff, you won't be able to touch much when you were looking at the university, because you need to develop your foundation first. Okay, after I did a bit of project management for my D1 year, as an engineer, I believe design and project management is not enough. Because when you're working as a project, what you actually want to see is the design that you're working on is actually built. So that's why I'm moving on to NGRCS. It's a contracting company. Because at the time, working for NG, you get actually to learn about the design, project management, how you actually build it. Like for instance, you go into this room, if you're a designer or a technical consultant, you can know, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. But when you're working as a contractor, you can actually think, okay, should I install the door first or the light first? That's the thing you need to understand when you're working as a contractor. And this, for me personally, is quite interesting. And I know how to pick different jobs, because initially when I'm working at studying in Monash, I actually get a feel, okay, which kind of work I want to do. Because Jamie might talk earlier about mechanical engineering, civil engineering, environmental engineering. That's actually a good idea to get a feel what you want to specialize. But when you're actually working, for me right now, I'm a mechanical contractor, but I'm working with architects, civil engineers, environment engineers, electrical engineers. So you're actually working with everyone. You need to understand how they think and how they do it. So you cannot just think, okay, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm a civil engineer, the other thing is not the job. No, when you're working with it, you need to actually understand all of it. And you need to think which industry you want to go for. Because your job is different. You work as a site engineer, you work for mining industry, you work for building industry, it's a bit different. So when you start off, you need to actually, before you go in working in the industry exposure, you need to think which industry you want to go for and which one you like. There's nothing, no wrong and right for this. Okay, so you can choose whatever you want, whatever you like. It's all okay. All okay. Okay. Next slide. Okay, so this is my word of advice for any students that want to start. Don't wait until your third or fourth year. On your first day, you will come to university, you should start to think, okay, what I want to do after I graduate. Because this will determine what's going to happen for you in the future and for your future study. Okay, next. To understand the market before you graduate, it's quite frustrating to find a first job, even though you're coming from Australia, to be fair. Because when you graduate, you just graduate, you just get a piece of paper. You need to actually understand what is the market working for and what is your worth for it. So before you go to find your first job, when you understand the market, if you go to the next slide, there will be some ideas that you can do, look for or join or study to actually gain knowledge what you look for in the industry. Next. What is that? Engineering Australia. Always a good place to go. Everyone here, all the market, this is the hub for engineering in Australia. And it's a good place to actually do network because most jobs coming from networking, especially in Indonesia. You know somebody know you got, you can get a job. It's the same way as I do at Mobile. Okay, next. This is SIMSI. It's called Chartered Institution of Building Service Engineer. For my job, this institution is quite good because you need to get to learn about the building industry, all the standards, all the codes, and all the technology. Next. Okay, this one, Project Management Institute. It's a PMI. You can see a lot of people have the accreditation as a PMP. As I said, as an engineer, you're not just doing calculation, but you need to understand about the project and how to manage all the stakeholders. And by doing this and learning this, it's a good place to start because for one is if you're not mistaken, Jim, now they have a project called CAPM. So CAPM, I think even though you are a final year student, you don't need to work for a few years to get the accreditation because you want to go for the PMP, you need to actually work for a few years and handle big projects for your own and lead the project that you can get the PMP. For CAPM, it's a good place to start for like a fresh graduate or a final year student. Okay, next. And I said 85% job as a kid when you're working. So when you're working and when you're studying in Australia, don't just look for paper or whatever. You need to make friends. Because here when you study in Australia, you've got people from all over the world. You have from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, America, South America. And it's actually a good experience for you to know how they think and how they function. Because in my project now, it's Indonesia, but the people that I'm working with is from all over the place. My client from the UK, from Ireland, I have contractors from India, Sri Lanka, Japan, Korea. And it's a good place for you to actually learn the culture and work with them easily. Okay, next. Okay, I think that's a bit brief information for me about my exposure and experience.
Few moments later.
Look, maybe we
still have time for Q&A.
Yeah, a bit of Q&A. Just before we go to your questions, just one thing that I also found interesting talking to Adam prior, before we started the session. Adam, you've told me that since returning to Indonesia, you've actually met other Monash graduates in your work. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's a bit of interesting experience because my first job, if you go to the slides, I work for my part, it is a consulting firm. When I was working there, actually it turns out my managing director is actually a Monash graduate, so I think he's really on like 82, 83. It's a bit up, but yeah, it's good because they know the quality of your education, so you have no doubts in your education and your ability. So it's a good place to start. I'm working for him maybe like for 2.5 years. Then I resigned to my second company, the project management consulting. And it turns out my director there as well, he's not from Monash, but he's from Melbourne. And his first ever project is to build the Robert Menzies building. Yeah, it's like when you go from the bus stop, the first building you see the Robert Menzies building in Clayton campus. And the last one, when I work for NGRSTS now, my director stays in Singapore because my company actually a Singapore company with HQ in Singapore and he would just have an office. So it's quite interesting because he hired me because he was also a Monash graduate. And the interesting part for me, for this job, they actually recognize my education quite seriously. And the reason for that because you have, if you stay in Australia for quite some time, of course your English ability is that you'll be above average. Okay, and the reason for that is my company is not just an Indonesian company. I was hired to do an ASEAN Pacific project. So after this project here, maybe after 6 months, 8 months, I might be able to, if we have projects in like Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, Singapore, they will ask me to send abroad. And it's a good experience to get your Monash name and your accreditation because when you work in other countries as engineers, you need license. If your license is not actually recognized by the country, you cannot go and practice. Your signature means nothing. But if you get your Monash degree, you sign anything, if worst thing happens, you go to court, whatever, they check your paperwork and everything, at least the one that's signing the paper is a legit engineer. So it's a good place to start.
Fantastic, Adam. Thank you. Really good. Questions?
I have a question about your internship. Can you elaborate more how you get your first job in Australia? And do your university have you find it or you find it by yourself?
Okay, so it's a good question actually, because finding a job as a foreigner in Australia is not easy. Okay, I can assure you.
Yeah.
But for your final year projects, how you get your project is depend on your lecture. So you look on your lectures, you have maybe like 10, 12 lectures, you look on each of them, you take a look at the specialization. Then after you take a look at the specialization, you think, is this what I'm looking for or not? If yes, you can just send an email or go to this group and then, okay, hey sir, can I talk to you about my family project? Then first thing he will ask is, what is your interest? What is you looking for? Okay. After you talk to him, basically when I was talking to him, I said, I'm interested to work with people compared to research. Then he recommended me, okay, I have this company, you take a look. They're doing improvement on the machinery's efficiency. If you're interested, you let me know, we can arrange a meeting with them. So actually the lecture is the one that guiding you through it. But nevertheless, I don't know if things change now, or maybe you can come to the student council to help you fund for it, or how is that going to come in?
Yeah, well, look, this is not uncommon, this experience where the academics will connect you to companies. Because remember what I said earlier, the academics do consultancies, they do research. Our academics will both research and teach, so they'll have some connections. We have lots of centres and institutes. So it's very important for us to have those connections and to use them. And it's not just for the academics or for the faculty, but it's also for our students. So I suppose with Adam, you know, Adam has been proactive. As he's explained, you don't just come in and learn. You have to start thinking ahead about where am I going at the end of this? What is my next step beyond getting the piece of paper? Okay, no worries. You come to Monash, you study hard, and you get the piece of paper, and you'll be very knowledgeable. That's only one part of it. The next part is helping students to get connected, and then getting them ready so that for the workforce, so that when they graduate, they can find a job. So Adam is a really great example of making the most of his opportunity, talking to his academics. You know, don't talk to one academic, talk to many academics. You're going to have maybe 8 or 10 or 12 different academics.
And some of them might reject you because they're full.
Yeah.
So you have to go fast.
Yeah. Talk to your academics, right? Make the most of your opportunity at Monash to learn about where there are opportunities, who knows who, getting to know other students, getting to know academics, taking the opportunities that we offer to get connected to companies, then you give yourself the best chance.
It's also just an example of my other friend. He's from Surabaya. He's doing materials engineering. He's doing his final year project with Woodside, which you mentioned earlier, Jamie.
Yes.
And then he did, because Woodside has the research facility at Monash. So my friend, the materials engineer, he's helping on a Woodside project for their research. And after he finished his project and graduate, he's now working for Woodside in Western Australia. He's working for 4 years now. And he's just about to resign and took his MBA.
So a lot of the work that we do with Woodside is materials based because we help them design. We do 3D printing and simulation for their energy extraction in the seabed for gas, and also maintenance of infrastructure because it costs a lot of money to have those drilling capabilities up and running efficiently to extract resources. So a lot of our work with Woodside is in those areas. But also, as the world decarbonises, so we use less oil, less gas, and we find renewable energy, we also now have worked with Woodside for hydrogen generation. So the partnership builds.
It extends.
It extends. Right? So thanks for the question. Any other questions? Sir, do you want to use the mic?
Thanks for the presentation, madam. Do you mind to share with us your high school? Where is your high school, and then how did you choose Monash? And in Indonesia, usually the parents think that students better having their first degree in Indonesia first, and then master degree overseas. But you took directly, you went to university as a bachelor. So how do you see it different between this?
Okay, very good question, Pak. Okay, so my high school is coming from Bundesliga. So I have the IB curriculum earlier. Okay, so one of the reasons why I go to Australia because I'm the youngest in my family. I have two older siblings. All of them go to Australia. I went to Monash, they went to Canada. Okay, so the reason why I actually want to go to Monash or Nabi University. Okay, but when you go to Nabi University, they don't do 4-year program anymore. They do 3-year program, but your degree will be a Bachelor of Science. Then you take Masters for 2 years, then you get your Master of Engineering. And you cannot work as an engineer with your Bachelor degree from Nabi University. That's why I go to Monash because you get a 4-year degree and you get your engineering degree. Okay, and you are right, but one of the reasons a lot of people think about, okay, I took my Bachelor in Indonesia, then I took my Master's overseas. That's right, nothing wrong with that. And the backside of it, from what I did, when I went to Australia to do the engineering, the backside is because most Indonesian students doesn't do engineering. They do commerce. In fact, it's only 4 of us in my batch. Sorry, 6. 2 of them drop out. I'm telling you, taking engineering honors is not easy. It's took a lot of hard work, but if you do well, it will pay off. So the only left 4 of us. I did the mechanical, 2 did civil, 1 did materials. Okay. As I said, the backside only 4 people, so it means I have less connection and less people I know working in the industry when I go back. That's why when I go back, I join an association called PAE.
Few moments later.
I want to learn about the industry, and at the end of the day, engineering is engineering. You learn about thermodynamics. In Australia, you say the culture and how you study is different. So I'm not saying it's wrong, but it depends on what you people. Because from my perspective, when you do your bachelor degree, maybe you're like what, 18 to 22. From what I see personally, it's where you build your character. It's where you take from then to all the way to your own. That's the character you try to build. So that's what the lesson that I took, because I live on my own. My parents not here. I have to be independent. I need to be able to take care of myself. I need to be responsible. I need to answer to my parents. Whatever I do, whatever my grades are, whatever I spend on my money, it's have to answer to. So I have to be responsible and independent. And that's what I personally learned a lot.
I think that's the great thing about international education, right? It's difficult probably. I've got a son, and the idea of sending him overseas is a challenge, but I mean, Adam is really a great example of that resilience that being away from family builds, and taking on the responsibility of a challenging degree. We have a lot of support services, so it costs money to come and study with us, but we provide all of that infrastructure. We provide the capabilities, and it's important for us that students that study with us graduate as well, right? We're not going to spoon feed them, but we're going to give them all of the opportunity to walk through the door. We're going to give them all of the academic support, and we want them to be their best. So I think it's a great lesson that Adam has shared with us. And about the 3+2 model, so as Adam correctly stated, you come to us and it's 4 years only. You go to Uni Melbourne, it's 5 years because you've got to do 3+2. Now, master is nice, but the Engineers Australia accreditation is the same if you do Melbourne Uni 5 years as if you do Monash Uni 4 years. So there's no difference in the accreditation.
And the good part, Jamie,
you know, also going to UI tomorrow. We also have a double degree program with UI, Universitas Indonesia.
Yeah.
For international engineering program. So students do 2 years in UI and 2 years in MOS.
That's right, 2 plus 2. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ronnie. So we're going to finish up now. Thanks a lot for your questions. Thanks for your time. You can come and talk to me a bit more about the engineering programs if you're interested. But I want to give special thanks to Adam as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Before start the session, maybe you can give this later. Yeah. With the ceremonial photo, please. Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ronnie. Nice to meet you. Thanks, everyone.
Pada para hadirin yang sudah datang baik online maupun offline, ini masih akan ada sesi-sesi sharing session lagi. Setelah ini akan ada knowledge berita science dengan salah satu member fakultas dan juga alumni yang akan sharing seperti ini juga. Jadi bagi yang masih mau mengikuti, kita akan mulai sebentar lagi. Terima kasih.
Siap. Udah bantu yang bagus banget. Kamu ternyata kamu demikian juga. Ini kan kakak ya. Dapat jadi orang. Emang kamu kasih tahu di peringkat dalam. Ada pas kita datang ya.
Few moments later.